upon and welcome you all on my YouTube channel HR Theorist. This video is designed for those with a background in HR. In this lecture, I will be discussing in continuation with the previous video topic Development of Industrial Relations under the title Hrm Outlook Part 3. And this presentation aims to provide a thorough understanding of the concept. So without any delay, let's get started. Development of Industrial Relations. Professor John T. Dunlop, a renowned scholar from Harvard University, made a significant contributions to the field of industrial relations. His book Industrial Relations System 1958 introduced an analytical framework that offered a comprehensive understanding of industrial relations. Let's explore each of these contributions along with relevant examples. Dunlop's contribution. First, real and money wages. Second, wage policies of trade union. Third, bargaining power. And fourth, system model. Real and money wages. Dunlop examined the relationship between the real wages, that is purchasing power, and money wages, that is nominal wage rates. He analyzed factors that affects the level and growth of real wages over time, such as productivity, inflation, labor market conditions. Productivity, it is a measure of how effectively resources are utilized to generate output. Inflation, it is a measure of the rate at which prices are rising and the purchasing power of money is decreasing. And labor market conditions, these conditions include various elements that influence employment levels, wage, and overall labor market outcomes, such as unemployment rates, government policies, and lack of job opportunities. Skills mismatch. Let's understand each one. First, real wage rate. Real wage rate refers to the purchasing power of wages or income. So it takes into account the impact of inflation on the value of money. Real wage rate indicates the amount of goods and services that can be purchased with a given wage. It reflects the actual standard of living and economic well-being of workers. The second one, money wage rate. Money wage rate refers to the nominal or actual number of wages paid to workers. So it represents the numerical value of wages without considering the purchasing power. Money wage rate is the amount of money earned by the workers for a specified period, such as per hour, per day, or per month. It is the wage rate that is directly negotiated or specified in employment contracts. Money wage rate does not account for changes in the cost of living or inflation. So let's understand with the example, real and money wage rate. In the automotive industry, let's say there is a research study conducted by John T. Dunlop. So he is interested in understanding how changes in the amount of money workers earns, taking into account the rising prices of goods and services, that is inflation. Third, affect their overall quality of life and economic prosperity. To this, Dunlop would analyze how increase or decrease in wages, when adjusted for inflation, it can either improve or worsen the purchasing power of workers. If wages increases at a rate higher than inflation, it means workers can afford more things and have a better standard of living. It, on the other hand, if wages drop back inflation, it means workers may struggle to afford the same things they could before, leading to a decline in their standard of living. In the given example, the money wage rate earned by the workers 200 per day rupees. However, there is an inflation rate of 5%, which means that the prices of commodities are increasing. To calculate the real wage rate, we subtract inflation adjusted amount from the money wage rate. In this case, the inflation adjusted amount is calculated by multiplying the inflation rate, that is 5%, by money wage rate, that is 200. Therefore, The real wage rate in this scenario is 190 rupees per day. This means that after accounting for the impact of inflation, the purchasing power of workers has decreased. So they can buy fewer commodities with their wages compared to the previous period. Hence, these wages dynamics in the automotive industry in Dunlop's research would provide insights into how changes in money wages can impact the financial well-being and overall economic situations of workers in the industry. It's very important to note that inflation can diminish the purchasing power of wages over time, impacting the standard of living and economic well-being of individuals. The second contributions wage policies of trade unions. Dunlop conducted extensive research on wage setting behaviors of trade unions. So he examined how unions negotiate with employers to secure favorable wage rates for their members. Let's say in a construction industry union, Dunlop research would analyze how the union engages in collective bargaining to negotiate higher wages, better benefits, and improved working conditions for its members. The third one, bargaining power. Dunlop analyzed the relative bargaining power of different actors in the employment relationships, such as employers and trade unions. So he examined the factors that influence the bargaining power, such as size and organization of unions, level of industry competition, and economic conditions prevailing in the labor market. Further, he recognized the significance of bargaining power in determining labor outcomes. Let's say in retail sector, Dunlop analysis would explore how the balance of power between management and workers influences wage negotiations, working hours, and job security. The fourth and the last contribution, system model. Dunlop developed the system model of industrial relations, which emphasized the interrelationships and interactions among various actors and institutions in the employment relationships. Let's understand each actor. Workers, that is trade union. Under workers, it is also referred as employees or labor. They are the essential actors in the system models because they provide their skills and labor in the exchange for wages and other benefits. Employees may also be organized into trade unions or other representative bodies to collectively negotiate with employer on matters related to wages, working conditions, rights, that is employment rights. The second one, employers. Employers or management represent one of the key actors in the system model. So they are responsible for making strategic decisions related to hiring, firing, setting wages, and determining working conditions. Employers also engage in collective bargaining with employees or their representatives to negotiate employment terms and resolve disputes. The third one, government. The government is an important actor in the system model of industrial relations because it sets laws, regulations, and policies that govern employment relationships, protect workers' rights, and ensure fair labor practices. So, the government may establish institutions and bodies to oversee and enforce labor laws, mediate disputes, and provide support for labor management relations. Let's say in a manufacturing company, in the system model would consider how the system model consider the how management, workers, unions, and government regulations interact and influence each other to shape labor policies, working conditions, and collective bargaining outcomes. So these are just a few examples illustrating John T. Dunlop's pioneering work in the field of industrial relations. His research and theories have greatly enriched our understanding of labor dynamics, collective bargaining, and the factors that shape our employment relationships. The second notable figure, Thomas A. Cochin. who gives three-tier institutional framework. Thomas A. Cochin three-tier institutional framework can be categorized into management, labor, and government. So, each representing a different level of decision making and influence in employment relations. Here is a description of each tier with examples. Top tier, that is strategic decision making. The top tier represents strategic decision making at organizational level. It involves managerial decisions regarding human resource policies and organization structure. So let's say companies management may decide to implement flexible work hour arrangements, introduce performance-based incentive systems, or invest in employee training and development. So these strategic decisions shape the employment relationships and can influence employee engagement, productivity, and job satisfaction. The second one, middle tier. Middle tier, that is collective bargaining or policy making, labor and management. So the middle tier focus on collective bargaining or policy making process between labor and management representatives. This level involves negotiation, establishments of agreements or policies that govern the employment relationship within specific industries or sector. So let's say a labor union and an employer association engage in collective bargaining, that is wages, to determine the wages, working conditions, benefits for workers in a particular industry. So these negotiated agreements sets the standards and rules that govern employment relations and impact the rights and obligations for both employers and employees. The third tier, bottom tier. Bottom tier, that is implementation and individual workers. Here it represents the implementation of policies and their impact on individual workers. It covers the everyday workplace, that is practices, interactions, experiences of employees. So several factors influence this tier, that is government regulations, organizational policies, the actions and decisions of managers and supervisors. Let's say government legislation on minimum wages, working hours sets the baseline standards that employers must adhere to when employing workers. So management decisions regarding job assignments, promotion, disciplinary actions also affect individual employees within the organization. Overall, Cochin's three-tier institutional framework provides a comprehensive perspective on employment relations. It recognizes the different level of decision making and influence from strategic choices made by management, collective bargaining or policy making by labor and management representatives. This is a references. Thank you students for your attentive presence, and as a student of management, I truly understand the importance of presenting management topics in an innovative manner to enhance the learning process or experience. My aim with this video was to provide a valuable insights. If you have any questions, suggestions, or there any other management related topic you would like me to explore, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to support this educational video by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with others who may find it beneficial.